Why does everyone hate on the wig scene, but we're all ready to give Vergil a pass for this awful Fedora? I mean, look at him, he's basically a Reddit mod. In 2013, the internet's collective rage was targeted squarely at DmC Devil May Cry. An edgy reimagining the beloved franchise that up to this point had two amazing entries, one that was kinda off-bait, and one that is honestly more disrespectful to the character Dante than any game we're talking about today. Of course, that was the last misstep that Capcom ever took with the franchise, and we never saw them fumble the IP ever again. Less joke, guys. But we're not here to talk about any of that. We're here to talk about why DmC Devil May Cry is actually pretty good. Has always been pretty good. And if you missed out on hearing a dissenting voice back then, I'm here to open your eyes to the fact that yes, it does have cringy moments and dialogue.
You're not on the list. I am now.
Along with the protagonist who is definitely not being treated as a self-insert OC please do not copy by the series producer. But that still isn't enough to take the shine off what is a highly underrated game from the tail end of the Sim generation. Look, the story is absolutely the weakest part of DmC Devil May Cry, though I'm front-loading it early because the algorithm craves viewer attention and I need you to stick around until the end. So let's get this out of the way. The story isn't good, but it's not awful either. Devil May Cry was always pretty level with details of what Dante's backstory really was before he ended up doing his devil hunting gig on Fiverr. There's a much larger story at play here now about how their mother was an angel, Daddy Demon Spada was captured and tortured for rebelling against Mundus, and who set his sights on conquering the human world through a combination of Monster Energy and Fox Deers.
Vaporeon is the most compatible Pokemon for humans.
Dante is no longer a silly demon hunter, but a trailer trash F-boy who spends his nights with strippers as days parking his weball domicile in a curiously accommodating amusement park. From there, we're off on a whirlwind adventure of long-lost twin brothers, healing trauma,
I killed the bastard,
fighting giant babies, and, look, you can't blame Ninja Theory for this. Capcom told them they wanted to be offended, and that's exactly what they got. It's juvenile, cringy, awkward, and has a heel turn coming that you can see from so far away. Kat is selling guided tours to cover her therapy bills. Point is, when we get to the end, we've got everything in place for the sequel. Vergil's bad, Dante's good, Mundus is in timeout. Sequel. There's DLC as well, but I'm not going into it. The whole thing had the budget of a Neil Breen movie.
I've never had a beard!
And it really just exists due to contractual obligations. And to justify Vergil's turn to the dark side while setting the whole thing in a version of Limbo that's so close to Wake Mundo that Kubo still hasn't stopped giving Team Ninja the side eye. Point is, the story is a means to an end. It's the vehicle that gets us to everything else we're looking to see. Oh yeah, now we're into the good stuff. I can understand why people were upset when the game came out, given how radically it redesigns the characters, the world, and everything in between. It's a radical departure, but here's the thing no one seems to get. That hate? It's because this game was meant to replace Devil May Cry. Supplant it. Be that new gold standard going forward. No one would have been upset if the game was just called Angry Boy the Video Game. If it stood on its own 2 feet instead of trying to uproot an established IP, people would have been able to appreciate the game for what it actually was. Let's start with the design. Just look at the game. Lavishly designed levels, bold colors, details woven into every seam. God, I love the Street Fighter 2 cabin stuck into the opening level. And the kind of world design and art direction people have us up glazing to this day in Alice Madness Returns. Every level offers something new. A twist not only for the sake of keeping the gameplay fresh and flowing, but ideas spun from the minds of developers you know. We're having way too much fun with the possibilities of the world they were crafting offered. For the love of God, there's a whole level dedicated to a quasi-game show that looks like you're fighting from inside a 2000s era Winamp skin. Mirror walls hidden inside the reflection of vast oceans. Time sections with shifting gravity. Enemy desires that run the gamut from seductive to genuinely, whatever this is. Team Ninja took the keys to the franchise and went full throttle. Say what you will about the destination they arrived in, but you can't tell me it isn't one hell of a ride. I can't play it here because I want the video to belong to me and not Combi Christ or Noisia. But take my word for why I tell you that it absolutely slaps. Team Ninja went to these two creative powerhouses with a mandate to make a soundtrack that ran the gamut from eerie and unsettling to pure, pulse-pounding adrenaline. And they crushed it. They knocked it out of the park so hard we still haven't found the ball 13 years later. And trust me, We looked. I don't know what else to tell you without revoking the wrath of Content ID. My hands are tied here. Go listen to it right now. Bring that on Spotify. I'll wait. It would be disingenuous to tell you that the gameplay is flawless. It's not, but it is damn near flawless. Team Engine took everything they learned from Heavenly Sword and Enslaved and applied it here. Moves that have weight, impact, and flow effortlessly. There's Palestra skill while making it accessible to beginners. It's flashy, stylish, and fun. But that's where it becomes its own worst enemy. It's too damn easy. Forget series veterans. Need chemos will be racking up triple S combos before the end of the first level. Tough luck on fights you for target priority at the worst of times. These are both issues that are corrected in the Definitive Edition. So if you're gonna play it in 2026, I would absolutely recommend playing that version. Combos are reworked, and a manual lock-on is added. But for the base game back in the day, these were both bones of contention. They're not anymore. DmC Devil May Cry was made a pariah by a generation of gamers who didn't know the darkness that lay ahead. How Capcom wouldn't even start their redemption arc until the release of Resident Evil 7. And I'm not saying that I wish things had been different. When Capcom went back to the series proper with DMC 5, it was an entry strong enough to rival the best of what had come before it. But that doesn't mean we didn't lose something special in the process. In a perfect world, we would have given Donte another chance, an opportunity to show us the potential of what could have been. In a world where Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, and Tobey Maguire can all be Spider-Man at the same time, isn't there room for more than one Dante? We might never know. Oh, wait. He did show up as a DLC costume in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Christ, and what do people hate this character?